If this is true, this could change everything for the Edmonton Oilers, not just on the ice, but also off the ice when it comes to their star players, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. It's an off day for the Oilers, but of course, it's not always an off day for the channel here. And if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do so. If you're part of the 76% that haven't subscribed to the channel, folks, so what are you waiting for? It's heating up. The standings are heating up. The games, more implications behind the games, and make sure you stay tuned to the channel here by hitting that subscribe button down below for any and all Oiler content. Now, of course, the Oilers still have to wait 2 more nights to wait for their next game against the Dallas Stars. Mikko Rantanen in the Dallas Stars heading into Rogers Place at 9 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Mountain on Sportsnet. Should be a huge one, but for the Oilers, they will not have Leon Draisaitl or Connor McDavid. From Jason Gregor here, McDavid and Draisaitl unlikely to play any of the 3 games this week. Of course, the Oilers have a back-to-back Wednesday and Thursday against Dallas, and they head to Seattle, and then on Saturday, the Battle of Alberta, the last Battle of Alberta for the season. They will most likely miss that one, but Kris Knoblauch, he's finding some sort of solitude in this absence here from the 2 biggest players on the Oilers. This little break without having those 2, maybe that helps other guys find their game and they're able to step it up. Hopefully they can build a little confidence, and we saw that on Saturday night, from Jeff Skinner, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Adam Henrique. We needed that players to, get going, get their engines revving just in time for the Stanley Cup playoffs. And I mean, what better time for, McDavid and Draisaitl to get a little bit of rest? Sure, you have the standings race here with the Los Angeles Kings and the Vegas Golden Knights, but a healthy McDry is a fantastic McDry in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and especially when you have the other players, getting that much-needed confidence, it makes the Oilers a very, very dangerous team heading into the playoffs. And the Oilers, it is a runway here towards the finish line. Dallas tomorrow night, they have Seattle. Like I said, the Battle of Alberta on Saturday night against the Calgary Flames. You have a huge divisional matchup with Vegas, and you can see there they still have to play San Jose 3 times on April 3rd, April 11th, and in their last game on April 16th. But you still have some, tough opponents in that schedule. Like I said, Vegas, you have Los Angeles twice, you have the Winnipeg Jets near the end of the season. So it is not going to be that easy for the Edmonton Oilers, despite, them playing San Jose 3 times. But we've seen San Jose knock off some very good teams. We saw them beat, the Toronto Maple Leafs a few weeks ago. So never say never in the National Hockey League, and also never say never towards, a huge what if for the Edmonton Oilers, a Connor McXtension in our what's next segment. But what is next for the Edmonton Oilers, not just on the ice, but also off the ice when it comes to an extension? Of course, Stan Bowman was asked about that on the After Hours show on Hockey Night in Canada. Of course, McDavid doesn't really like talking about the contract extensions in the season, but Stan Bowman, he is very confident something will get done. He said, we have a great relationship with Judd Moldaver, his agent. I've known Judd for a long time, and he does a great job for his clients. Of course, Jeff Jackson, Connor's former agent with the Oilers organization, so he's got the upper hand as well. I'm getting to know Connor right now really well too, and everything I said about Leon, he said, Leon's incredible player on the ice, great leader off the ice. You can probably repeat that for Connor. He's an incredible leader, incredible person, a great teammate. He loves to cheer for the guys and pump everyone up and be very supportive as a leader. And even, Draisaitl, he's saying to the team, re-sign him immediately. I want to buy my side. Of course, the Oilers, Leon Draisaitl, he continued his public push for McDavid to sign the extension after he himself signed an 8-year deal in the summer. And of course, you can see there McDavid just being more than supportive for the Gents after the 5-4 win over the Seattle Kraken. Not just him, but Trent Frederick, Leon Draisaitl, and just a fancy get up there, and Evander Kane. Of course, we're still waiting for all 4 of those to return to the lineup. Trent Frederick still 10 to 14 days away, and then Evander Kane, who knows when he will be back in game action here for the Edmonton Oilers. Sometimes in the playoffs, will it be as soon as the playoffs start? Who knows? But hopefully we get a much clearer timeline on Evander Kane. But for Connor McDavid, I mean, what more can I say about him? Fantastic player. Not just in junior, but, also coming into the professional league with the Edmonton Oilers. I mean, year after year, he's just, made me think, what more can this guy do? He's done it all except win the elusive Stanley Cup, won the Conn Smythe, but just hasn't won Lord Stanley's Cup. Hopefully, we see that this spring. But, of course, Stan Bowman, You can't underestimate Connor McDavid. He said he's the most important player we have here, so that is priority number one. We'll get to that this summer. Now is probably not the time to be talking about that, but we all know Connor is going to be here and that we're going to make it happen. Judd and I will have to get going on that on time here, but I'm confident that we will. Now for Connor McDavid in the Oilers, I mean, the salary cap, how can they, get all these big contracts underneath the salary cap? You can see there, they have Leon Draisaitl locked up until, 2035. Zach Hyman, 2028, Evander Kane, they still have to, figure out what's going on with that there. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, he signed until 2029. They still have to figure out something like Jeff Skinner after this year, and maybe even offload a few contracts. I know I've heard, rumblings about, Evander Kane being moved in the offseason. Corey Perry, who knows what's happening with him? Will he retire after the season? Will he not? Who knows? Connor Brown, Kispray captain, and even, guys at the bottom like Derek Ryan. I'm pretty sure Derek Ryan will retire, but Trent Frederick, who knows if the Oilers will extend him or if he was just purely a rental for the Stanley Cup playoffs. So not just on the forward side, folks, but also on the defensive side. Of course, they have Darnell Nurse locked up. They still have to see, about another contract for Matisse Ekholm after next year. Evan Bouchard, another huge question mark. Salary-wise, I know at the beginning of the year, I thought he's going to get $10 million. It'll be a good contract for Evan Bouchard, but I think with the way he's been, up and down this year, $10 million is a little bit of a stretch there. I mean, $8 million, 8+, sure, I'll do that, but $10 million, he's gonna have to really impress me for the rest of the season. Jake Wallman's locked up for 2 years, Brett Kulak 2 years. The John Klingberg experience, an experiment, both of them, just been a failure. Sure, the analytics, he's had some solid games, but John Klingberg, he is just not at the NHL level anymore there. Not to mention, Stuart Skinner, who still has to get extended after next year. So for the salary cap and the Oilers, lots of question marks, but thankfully they do have the benefits of the cap going up. You can see there at the bottom, $88 million is the salary cap limit, but in the next 3 years, folks, it's gonna get a boost. The NHL and the NHLPA announced that team payroll ranges for the next 3 seasons would be an upper limit for next year of $95.5 million. The year after that, I underlined both the 104 and the 2026-27 is that when Connor McDavid's new contract would kick in there. In the limit would be $104 million, not to mention $113.5 million in 2027-28. So the Oilers will have some breathing room for a Connor McDavid extension. You can see there at the top of the screen, the percentage of cap that Connor McDavid currently has on the Oilers salary cap, 15.72. Now, when you think about, $104 million the year his, new deal would kick in, okay, how much would that be? And I ran the numbers. Of course, 15.72% of $104 million is almost $16.35 million. And even that still seems like a gigantic bargain for Connor McDavid. So that is it for today's video. I know, wasn't a whole lot, but I mean, the Connor McDavid extension, I'm not really worried about it. Let me know down in the comments if you are worried, going into next season, if nothing does get done this offseason heading into next season, or if you think he will be an Oiler for life. I'm very, very interested. If you're an Oiler fan, if you're not, let me know down in the comments about Connor McDavid's future. And, of course, we still have 3 games without McDavid in Draisaitl, but I think the guys will stick it out without them, even, with the Dallas Stars heading into town, which is one of the best teams in the National Hockey League and in the Western Conference. But folks, have yourselves a great rest of your Monday, and we will be back tomorrow with another video. Take care. I'm Matt.